Chapter 26. Out. I'm John the Blank, and I've been in this game for 1 month and 9 days. Just hearing those words fall from my lips seemed so unreal and wrong. I'm not a blank, but it seems that I'd forgotten that. A hard pit formed in my stomach, but I kept a straight face. I can't afford to show anything right now. I'm Eve, the hacker, and I've been here for 1 year and 32 days. The roll call moved down the list as we introduced ourselves. I am Alice the engineer, and I've got 7 months and 14 days. Alice sighed with annoyance. This is Leo, the photographer, and he's been here 4 months and 20 days. Alice motioned toward the mute boy. And I'm Hal the brain, here for 2 years and a month as well. I am player 1 and leader of team 1, but I'd really like to know why you're here, Hal questioned. A girl stood in front of us, wearing a sour expression, matching that which Alice normally wore. Her hair was long and curled with a night coloring. Her eyes looked much like those of a cat's, narrow and green. Her skin was a soft tan, meeting her stain-filled gray nightshirt and black PJ pants with green flip-flops. I am Rachel the Bomber, and I've been here 7 months, and for why I'm here for the boy, she pointed to Leo with a wasted motion. Why? Alice spat. There was a reason we didn't kill him, you know, she smirked. You almost killed my team members. Why would we help you? Hal added in a monotone voice. That's right. They said the threes were responsible for the house collapsing. Does that mean all these blanking memories are their fault? Also, Hal's not going to say anything about the fact that they murdered 2 people in cold blood. Insurance, so we don't kill you, Rachel offered. What's insuring you? Alice barked, pulling out her gun with a threatening pose. A clue, Rachel growled wickedly. What clue? I asked, speaking up. That's why we're here in the first place. Over time, Ian figured out that a clue is always something that seems not to be in place. So by searching an area for something that just doesn't belong, we don't have to bother with those pesky hints, Rachel explained, pulling out a wrapped object from her side bag. How do we know that won't just blow up in our face? I mean, that is your specialty, Eve snarled, crossing her arms like a pouting child. Because it's a bottle. She opened the cloth surrounding a plastic, dark brown bottle that seemed like something that Olive would have to keep in her office. That just looks like you stole it from the hospital, Hal sighed. The label is covered in blood. That got our attention. Hal won't really just trade a human being for a clue, would he? Okay, a question first. Why exactly do you want Leo? Hal asked, crossing his arms smugly. Why should I tell you? Rachel uttered. It was just a question. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but if you answer, then I can answer something for you, he offered rather vaguely. What do you know that I would want to know? Well, I have been here a lot longer than you and your precious leader. Face it. I know more than you, he laughed as he spoke. All right, you're on. We want Leo for his photos. Rumor has it that he knows where a whole bunch of clues are, and that he took pictures of them, Rachel stated flatly. Now, Hal, I want to know why Ian won't tell me. Why does he want to kill you? I had noticed that when Ian was attacking me, he mentioned something about Hal, and then he did blow up our house, but I figured that was just to kill player 1 for the clue. Is there something else to it? That message written in blood. Was it meant for Hal? That's an odd question, isn't it? Hal spoke as if the inquiry seemed foreign and unreal. Are you going to answer or not? Give me a second. He rose his hand to his head, as if he was trying to remember. Oh, that's right. Brooke. Brooke? Eve and Alice's ears seemed to perk up at this. Didn't Brooke have something to do with birdies? Eve, Alice, Maria, and someone else was on that team, weren't they? Yeah, 5? What about Brooke? Eve snapped. I knew I recognized that name, but I always called her Captain, if I remember correctly, Hal continued. Who is Brooke? I asked, unable to hold it in anymore. The leader. The literal leader of Team 5 when there were still 5. I remember when she came, her and Ian grew close before she left. As to the reason Ian hates me, it's because I kicked her out of her own team, Hal revealed. You were on the same team as Ian? I spat in a loss. Everyone else wore my same expression of confusion. Hal really could have told us that. What else is our leader keeping from us? Like I said, I was in a team before this one, and Ian was in it. Hal groaned as if he didn't care of the bombshell he just dropped on us. You worked with Ian? Rachel questioned again. I just said yes, but if you want to be technical, I worked for him. For him? I added. Yes, for him. I mean, you've met that psychopath. He's terrifying. Hal didn't seem frightened when talking about him, though. There is something that he's not telling us. As for a trade, I'll accept your offer, Hal smiled widely. He walked closer to the girl, letting his arms fall to his side. He turned around, motioning for Leo to come over. The blond boy shook his head quickly in a no. Hal sighed, stormed over to the kid, grabbed the back of his neck, and pushed him forward, towards the girl. Hal, what are you doing? I stood in his path. What did I say about stepping on my lines? Hal threatened. You can't trade a person for a clue, I barked. I'm done being beaten around by him. It's time I step up. Move, blank, he snarled. No, I'm done listening to you. You're nothing but a sociopath, and I'm not letting you do this anymore. You're nowhere near finding anything, and you've been here for 2 years. You're no leader, just a jerk with no feelings for anyone else. At the rate you're playing this game, even Alice are going to die with you, I yelled. A sharp pain filled my left cheek as the flesh turned pink. Hal lowered his hand with a dead look. Get out. His tone was dark and cold. What? I asked, bringing my left hand to my cheek. If you're not going to follow me, then you're not a part of my team, so get out. My face turned pale as loss took over. He's completely serious, isn't he? How? You just can't... Eve began. I can't what? He yelled, his voice echoing off the walls. Is this really happening? Hal walked past me, with Leo held down by his grip. I stood motionless, unable to process what had just happened. Am I on my own now? Eve and Alice won't let that happen, would they? I looked towards the girls, who only wore a red face of obedience. Are they just going to let me go? After all we've been through, just like that? All because one guy says so? I turned to Hal, who was locked in a conversation with Rachel. The girl wrapped Leo's wrist, handing Hal the bottle. Hal quickly dropped the rag. He dropped the plastic bottle to the ground and grabbed Rachel's shoulder, forcing her to the ground in a sharp motion. I guess he did have a plan after all. Alice ran over to the three, with what appeared to be a rope in her hands. Leo, why don't you pick that up? You have the least amount of points, so it shouldn't change your rank too much, Hal ordered. Leo nodded, picking up the bottle from the tile. A scream erupted from Eve, as she clawed at her lips with pain. She seemed to stumble, fighting the blackness that soon overtook her as she fell against the hard ground. Eve, I called. I ran over to her, but before I got there, Hal cut me off. Didn't I tell you to get out? He stated. She's my friend, I spat at Hal. She's not your team member anymore, so step away, or I'll have to deal with you, he huffed, finishing tying up Rachel. But out or I'll kill you myself. Got it? He threatened, raising the electric glove that I had first tested. Did I really piss him off that much? You are now my enemy, so I'll not hesitate to kill you, Hal announced. I swallowed dryly. I've really messed up.